Welcome back. It's time for your Monday markets, and stock markets around the world, including the JSE today, were languishing in the red while the rand weakened. Let's bring up this sad number in many respects. The rand fell by more than 1% earlier. By 4 o'clock or so, the rand was 2/3% weaker at around 17.35 to the dollar. The slide has been sparked by fears that China will resort to strict COVID-19 measures again. Previous restrictions in China weighed on the global economy, and now the country has reported its first COVID-19 death in months. Also, a hawkish tone from the Federal Reserve in the US has raised expectations again that the US Fed may again raise rates. All right, that was a quick look at the markets and the rand. And now in economics news, crime is big business in South Africa. And we're looking at the private security industry, which is one of the fastest growing industries in South Africa. The sector is creating jobs. And did you know there are now more private security guards than police officers? To discuss, we're joined by SABC's economics editor, Tshepo Mongoai. Great to have you with us, as always, on a Monday. Yeah. Incredible. So more security guards than police officers on the streets right now.
Well, it's been like that for quite some time now, and it's simply because that the inefficiencies of the police, as well as the high crime rate in South Africa, all those have yielded huge opportunities for the private security. I mean, for quite some time, you could see that more people are starting to put their faith in the private security industry. You see, in terms of guarding, which is the biggest contributor in terms of jobs in this sector. I mean, currently, Francis, we have 500,000 jobs, active jobs, in this industry, and over 1 million people who have trained as security guards. So another 500,000 people have actually trained as security guards and looking for work. And think about it, we have about 150, just under 160,000 police officers in the country. So you can actually see the shift. Obviously, that's a concern for government, that you are starting to see this private security. And we know that there was the private industry regulatory authority that was put in place to ensure that there is better compliance and more control in terms of the activities of this particular industry. But because of the way it's growing, it appears, and it would seem that the PCRA, which is the regulatory body, is not able to keep up with certain changes and monitoring to ensure that there's better compliance by the players. And we're starting to see that this particular industry is now starting to be infiltrated by some criminal element who are playing a growing role in this industry. For example, I mean, we've got the construction mafia. We also have the security mafia, who now approach business people and demand that they pay protection fee if they want to be safe in those locations, and many of them are forced to pay those security.
So it's the same modus operandi as the construction mafia. Pay us, or you will have issues. Presumably those are unlicensed, not regulated, like you say. The regulators can't keep up. They should be closed down, but there are a lot operating.
Well,
they should be in jail, I guess.
Absolutely. The private industries regulatory authority, that's its job. When they realized that the space was starting to be crowded, you may remember that several years ago there was an amendment to the Act to ensure that all local security companies are majority owned by South Africans in order to mitigate the risk element. But the risk has not completely gone away, as you could see that there is a lot of unruly. Of course, every year you've got security companies that are suspended under from the regulatory board, because you have to be listed. But we also know that there are security companies that are contracting security guards that are not registered with PCRA. So there is a lot of things, but the regulatory body has no capacity at all to police the activities of those security companies, and as a result, you do find that there are unruly players in this industry that cannot be accounted for. But also the training in the sector. It's a low barrier entry in the sector. So almost anyone can go in, train for 2 months and be a security
and wield the gun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Well, let me stop you there because we're running out of time. So, sure, all these issues, and you look at how big the industry is, so it's going to get harder and harder to police. And then at least there's the good job creation element, but there have always been concerns about the safety of workers. Are their rights being respected? What can you say in that regard?
That's another challenge because if you look at it that way, I mean, you've got the independent directorate with the police who go rogue, but in the security industry, there is no direct line to SAPS. Whenever there are issues, they are either referred to labor or for prosecution. So there is a need that there must be some link and close cooperation, because police security officers are first respondents in most crime scenes. They arrive there, and at times, because of lack of training, they contaminate evidence because they simply don't know. I mean, currently we don't even know, Francis, how many security guards are killed every line of duty, but yet we know the police. And obviously the security officers are in every corner. They are there, they are visible. And obviously there needs to be more scrutiny, more focus on this particular industry, because whether government likes it or not, this is the industry that needs to be monitored very closely, regulated, but also it needs to play a much bigger role as it is, and allowed to play that role.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Tshepo Mongoai, our news economics editor here at the SABC. And make sure that the security company you contract with is registered and the guards are registered as well.